Perhaps you are dreaming of a life of true freedom, where you can do what you love, whenever and wherever you feel most comfortable. Have you ever imagined a life without worrying about things beyond your control? A life where everything is under your control? For many people, such dreams may seem far away. But what if I told you that there is a way to get closer to them? You wish to have the confidence when standing next to anyone, even the most successful or influential person. However, confidence comes not only from understanding the world around you, but also from understanding yourself. This leads to an important question. Have you ever felt like you are not really excellent in any field? Have you ever felt like you are just going through life without achieving anything truly meaningful? Have you ever felt like you don't understand much about fields like politics, religion, economics, philosophy, science, even though these topics all affect your life? Luckily, you have found this article. Honestly, I am not exaggerating when I share that you have the opportunity to discover a precious truth, something that can change the way you look at life. I am someone who has spent my whole life searching for answers to life's biggest questions, having gone through many profound experiences to understand what is truly important. But don't rush to find answers in faraway places. What I want to share is, the life we are experiencing can contain many profound things that sometimes we do not realize. Why am I talking about this? Because in life, we sometimes experience very vivid and real feelings, and understanding these experiences can help us live a more meaningful life. Before we continue on this journey together, I want to take a moment to talk to my wonderful friends. You know, there are small actions that have great meaning, and they are completely free. What I am talking about is subscribing to the channel and leaving comment. Each time you do these things, you are not only supporting me, but also transmitting great encouragement that I deeply appreciate. These actions reflect the sincerity, kindness, and virtue Stoicism always promotes. Don't hesitate to share your thoughts through comments, because that is how you express your views and lifestyle. If you found this content helpful, please leave a comment number 1. If you didn't find it valuable to you, please leave a comment number 2. This is really important to us because through this we can evaluate and improve the way we convey the message in the next videos. Leave your mark with these small but meaningful actions. I look forward to reading your shares. So what is this life really? We often talk about life as a series of events, experiences, things that happen to us from birth to death. But life is not just about what happens around us. It is also about how we react, how we choose to perceive and interact with those events. To answer the question of the true nature of life, I turn to the profound philosophies, life views of the wisest people in history. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Try to see if the life of a good man suits you, the life of one who is content with his part in the whole, and is satisfied with his own just actions and benevolent attitude." Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Roman emperors, was not only a strong leader but also a profound philosopher. He spent his life studying and practicing Stoicism, philosophy that focuses on living a moral, peaceful, and meaningful life. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius emphasized that fulfillment does not come from material success or fame, but from living a life that is just, kind, and content with what one has. Stoicism and the limits of ability. In a recent post, I wrote at length about how the Stoics considered what is within our capabilities and what is beyond them. This is a basic principle of Stoic philosophy. Focus on what is within your power and let go of what is beyond your control. To quickly review, what is within a reasoning actor's power is their intentions, beliefs, willpower, and anything else within their power. What is beyond their power is their wealth, their reputation, how the action plays out, other people, basically anything else beyond their power. Focus on what is within their power and do their best to keep the things that are beyond their power intact. At least they do their best not to stretch their will over those things, wanting them one way or another. Coming to this conclusion is all well and good, but of course it leads to a whole host of questions. For now, I will try to answer one. How does a Stoic actually deal with the things within their power? After all, Simply saying that we can control some things and cannot control others is not enough to be happy. We must add to that some direction, some general plan, that if followed, can help bring us fulfillment. Enter the concepts of virtue and vice. Virtue and vice, the essence of the good life. Before I go any further, I need you to know that virtues and vices are only within the realm of a social rational actor. A rock cannot be virtuous. A lion cannot have vices. Furthermore, both the virtues and vices exhibited by others have nothing to do with the rational individual. It does not matter how many qualities the people around you exhibit. Remember that, in a sense, the people around you are in the realm of things that are beyond your control. Individuals' relationship to virtues and vices is what matters most. So what are virtues? Virtues, as defined by the Stoics, are the good qualities that we should develop in order to live a meaningful and moral life. Vices, on the other hand, are negative qualities, those that weaken our spirit and destroy our lives. Now, some of the old teachers go into great detail about the various virtues and vices, but I will list the 4 main virtues of each type that I find important and give a brief definition of what I believe they are. If you have looked up Stoicism before, you may have seen these before. You will notice that each virtue has an opposite vice. This is entirely intentional. Self-control, temperance, balance, and self-regulation. The first virtue I want to talk about is self-control, also known as temperance. This is the ability to control oneself, to take what one needs without going into excess, to avoid revenge, if possible, to avoid violence and arrogance, and to practice forgiveness. Self-control is not simply knowing when to stop, but the ability to recognize one's own limits and act within those limits. A person who practices self-control will give as freely as possible within reason, observing as much humility as possible. They try their best not to get carried away by rage or flighty fantasies, and in public, try not to lose their temper. The opposite of this is indulgence, or excessiveness. When a person lacks self-control, they are easily carried away by negative emotions, easily drawn into actions that they may later regret. In daily life, self-control can be expressed in many different ways. It can be keeping calm when offended, refusing temporary temptations, or knowing how to forgive when hurt. Self-control not only helps us avoid negative consequences, but also helps us build good relationships with others, maintaining peace of mind. Justice, treating others fairly and kindly. The second virtue is justice. This is a complex and difficult concept to define for many reasons, not least because justice can vary depending on many factors such as culture, social circumstances, and personal value systems. However, for simplicity's sake, I will narrow my definition to individuals and their social relationships, as I believe the Stoics themselves would do. To that end, justice is the idea of treating those around you fairly and treating them as they deserve to be treated. This means being patient with children, treating others fairly in business, acting in good faith with your partners, standing up to those who are unjust and cruel, and educating those who need it. All of these can be included in the concept of justice. The opposite of justice is injustice. Justice is more than just obeying the law. It is also doing what is right and moral in all situations. Justice requires us to treat everyone with respect and kindness, regardless of their social status, wealth, or background. It requires us to always look for ways to help others, to stand up against injustice, and to create a more just society. Wisdom, understanding, and judgment. The third virtue is wisdom. Wisdom is not simply intelligence or knowledge. It is the ability to use your mind and experience to judge, choose, act, predict the possible outcomes of actions, and understand why things are the way they are. A wise person can use the other virtues and skillfully apply them to actions. Wisdom helps us see the connections between things, understand their nature, and make wise decisions. Wisdom also includes the ability to reflect, self-evaluate, and adjust our behavior to conform to moral and social standards. The opposite of wisdom is foolishness. Foolishness is not just ignorance, it is also a lack of judgment, choosing the wrong action and not realizing the consequences of that action. Foolish are easily deceived, easily drawn into negative actions, and often unable to recognize their own mistakes. In everyday life, wisdom can be demonstrated through constant learning, constant search for truth, and constant reflection on what we have learned and experienced. Wisdom helps us become better, helps us recognize our mistakes and correct them, and helps us make better decisions in the future. Courage, facing challenges and fears. Ultimately, courage is the ability to stick to virtuous actions and thoughts despite risk, danger, uncertainty, pain, people around you, doubt, public embarrassment, and more. Courage is not just about facing danger. It is also the ability to stand firm for one's values and principles, even in the face of opposition, criticism, or misunderstanding. Courageous person continues on the path of virtue no matter what the cost, whether physical or emotional. This is the person who stands up to a crowd and admits their mistakes when they know they may be blamed for more. Person who leaves a toxic marriage when threatened by a spouse for the sake of their children. The soldier who sacrifices his or her life to protect the weak. Elderly who stand up for a persecuted religious minority when they know they may receive a backlash from society. The opposite of courage is cowardice. Courage requires not only physical strength, but also mental strength. It requires us to stand up for what is right, even when it may cause us to get hurt. Courage is the willingness to accept suffering, failure, and even death, for the sake of the noble ideals we believe in. Self-improvement, the path to fulfillment. Organizing our powers according to these virtues leads to the perfection of human beings as social beings. This allows us to act as individuals in ways that enrich us without harming us, while also having a positive impact on those around us. It gives definition to the individual and puts them into ideas that can be used to create right action in the present and the future. But to achieve perfection, we need to understand that your virtues and vices, your good and bad, are all within your power, and in no way are they within the power of anyone or anything else. Let me reiterate this: neither good nor evil can come from outside of you. Money, fame, sex partners, drugs, power, none of these things are inherently good or evil. Things that are beyond your power only affect your relationship to virtue and vice based on how you act, bend your will to them. If you are kind to a dog you see on the side of the road because your wisdom and justice point you in that direction, then you are acting virtuously. If you have such a bad day that you lose control and kick it, then you are acting based on a vice. Both options are up to you, the rational actor. Practicing virtue. Applying Stoic philosophy to everyday life. There is certainly much more to be said about virtues and vices. Have you noticed how all the virtues are interconnected? But I will save that for another day. However, the important thing here is that you start practicing these virtues in your daily life. Exercise. Take a moment to reflect on a situation that is happening in your life right now. If you had not acted, how do you think you could have used the virtues in this situation? What impact do you think they would have, either on yourself or on others involved? If you had acted with the virtues, how do you think you would have felt? If you had acted with the vices, what would have been the consequences? If you had acted, how did your actions relate to virtues and vices? How might your situation have been different if you had acted more virtuously? How about less? Reflecting on and questioning our actions is an integral part of Stoic philosophy. It helps us become more conscious of what we do and the impact those actions have on our lives and the lives of those around us. By practicing virtue, we not only improve ourselves, but we also contribute to a better society. In closing, remember that Stoic philosophy is not just a bunch of lofty theories, but also a powerful tool for living a more meaningful and happier life. By focusing on what we can control, like virtue, wisdom, and courage, and letting go of worries about things beyond our control, we can find inner peace and face life's challenges with more confidence. If you're feeling overwhelmed by anxiety or haven't found your way to true freedom and happiness, don't worry. Start with the small things: self-control in your actions, fairness in your dealings, and courage in the face of fear. These will lead you to a better life, where you not only achieve personal fulfillment, but also contribute to a just and compassionate society. To continue this journey with us, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss any videos about Stoic philosophy and how to apply it to your daily life. We would love to hear your thoughts. opinions, and experiences in the comments section below. Share how you apply these principles in your life, and let's discuss together. Build a positive community where we can all learn and grow. Thank you for joining us on our journey. Find true happiness.